I'm sure you're going to be blessed today, right? Because we have in our midst, once again, Father Catalino was going to share. Father was just asking me what to share. So I told Father to share whatever you have in mind so that we are blessed. So we are definitely being blessed, Father, has come in our midst. So even before we begin this prayer meeting, let us all stand, invite the Holy Spirit in our midst, and then wait for the Lord to restore us to His word, to Father. Let's close our eyes. Lay aside everything that is going to prevent us from enjoying this prayer meeting. Keep aside everything that is bothering us. Place our minds in the hands of our Lord Jesus. The Lord blesses our minds and the mind may be free to receive everything which is in store for us. All the areas that worries, which normally worries us, being as humans, give it to Jesus. For this is the quality time of an hour that you have planned and you have set aside for the Lord. So be silent and with your inner hearts, ask Jesus to make this prayer meeting for each one of us something beautiful, something to take back home, to take His presence home. Let's be a little silence and then we say the protection prayer. You and I have placed everything at the feet of the Lord, believing that everything is at the feet of the Lord, and He will take care of everything, and we make something beautiful for each one of us. Boldly, let us sign ourselves and say the protection prayer with conviction, meaning every word that we say. For every word has got its meaning, for every word has got its life, and in every word there is some blessing for each one of us. By the sign of the Holy Cross, O Lord, deliver us from all that is evil. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Lord Jesus, thy faith in your hands, and I'll take your most precious blood, and my family, right from the crown of my head to the very soles of my feet. I take total and complete protection for my life and family. Lord Jesus, keep us free today from evil, sin, temptation, Satan attacks and afflictions, from darkness, sickness, diseases, doubt, anger, accidents, all calamities, and from all that is not like you. Fill us, Lord Jesus, with the gift of your Holy Spirit, and grant us the gifts of wisdom, knowledge, faith, understanding, so that we may live today in your glory, wherein you are alive. We praise you, Lord. Hallelujah. Hallelujah, Lord. Praise you, God. Thank you, Jesus. Praise you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. We glorify you, Lord God. We bless your name, Lord God. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Hallelujah, Lord. Praise you, God. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Lord. Praise you, God. Praise your name, Lord. Glory to your name, Lord. Hallelujah to your name, Lord. Hallelujah. Let's invite the Holy Spirit and we sing the song, Holy Spirit, thou shalt come in this place. Welcome the Holy Spirit in this place, in our hearts, in our minds, and in the entire beings of us. And as we welcome God's Spirit, He will come and dwell with you. He will make you light. And you will find everything what has been given to you by Father, as He shares God's word, will become alive in you, will bear fruit for each one of us. Let's make this song as a prayer from our heart, inviting God's Spirit in our midst. Holy Spirit. Holy Spirit and invite Him. He is there. That is our precious Spirit. So let's sing with all our hearts, with all our strength, inviting, pleading, asking the Holy Spirit to come and rest with us to be in this place. Holy Spirit, thou art welcome in this place. Holy Spirit, thou art welcome in this place. O immaculate Father of mercy and grace, thou art welcome in this place. In my heart, Holy Spirit, thou art welcome in my heart. Holy Spirit, thou art welcome in my heart. Holy Father of mercy and grace, thou art welcome in my heart. Even as the music plays, in the quietness, in the stillness of your heart, recall everything that we sang just now. Inviting God's Spirit in this place. Inviting God's Spirit in our hearts. When He dwells in our heart, in my heart, in your heart, our hearts will be made different. A heart of stone will be planted with a heart of love. Tell that precious Spirit of Jesus, come Lord and stay with me forever. Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. Come forward. May all take a seat.
Blessed evening to everybody. Now, actually, I do not know what to say. So I would like to hear from you. What do you exactly want to hear from me? Any suggestion? Nothing?
Some good advice
About what?
about how I be a good Catholic.
How to lead ourselves to Jesus.
Father, the presence of the Holy Spirit.
Presence of the Holy Spirit.
How to be
Okay. Holy Spirit, some guidelines on how to be a good Catholic. Okay, that's our topic tonight. Yes, why are you shaking your head? First, Holy Spirit. By scientific definition, Spirit is almost non-existent. Because in science we were taught only two things here in the whole wide world: matter and spirit. Matter is anything which occupies space and has weight. This is matter. I am matter. I occupy space, I have weight. Although my weight is not too much. Spirit, on the other hand, is not something which doesn't occupy space and has no weight. So it is almost non-existent. Air, we cannot see air, but air has weight. You know that. But spirit, no weight, doesn't occupy any space. What is that? Incomprehensible. Almost tantamount to spirit is nothing. That is why there was once a theologian who wrote a book. The title of the book is The God of Nothingness. God is nothing. That means God is not a thing. So we talk about God, we talk about Holy Spirit. What is that? In philosophy, spirit is synonymous to soul, and soul is synonymous to life. So life is spirit. That is why in every charismatic, how do you call it, this series of teachings, when one is just beginning. Now,
Born again.
Life in the Spirit seminar. Life in the Spirit seminar. Life, Spirit. Life is Spirit. Anything that has no life, has no spirit, has no soul, it is just a thing. It is just existing, but there is no life. So religion, especially the Catholic religion, and a Christian religion at that, speaks about the Spirit which is holy. And specifically for us Catholics, we have the Holy Spirit as the third person of the Blessed Trinity. So what is this Spirit? The Bible says right from the very beginning in the book of Genesis, when God finally decided to create the world, the Spirit already was hovering around. So the Spirit already was there even before the creation of the world. In other words, life already was there before human life, before any animal life. Why? Because God was there. And He has the absolute fullness of life. And then, after molding the clay in a form like us, God breathed His Spirit on the clay. And the clay received life. Later on, that clay was called human being. So Spirit is life. Spirit is life. Now when we say holy, I do not know exactly what the origin of the word holy is. But holy means something like pure, spotless, genuine. Holy means everything that is good. So when we say Holy Spirit, it is the Spirit of goodness. It is a life of goodness, a life of doing what is good in accordance to the will of God. It is a life, God is active, God is alive, and God is making use of me so that the goodness of God in me might go out and be shared with others. So a holy life, Holy Spirit. And where do we get that holiness? Where do we get that life? From God. God is the purest. God is the absolute perfection of everything that is good. And God gave His life to this human body. And therefore, according to the words of St. Paul, this body has become the temple of the Holy Spirit. Which means that the Spirit of goodness is here. The Spirit of goodness is here. Now, most of the times, even in the beginning of the session, you were calling on the Holy Spirit and you were singing, Holy Spirit, come. Well, to me, that is a little bit absurd. You ask someone to come to you, and that someone or something already is in you. That is why I say, we do not have to ask anything to God anymore, because God already knows everything, and God has given us everything already. But anyway, that is symbolical, and that is with harmony, come, Holy Spirit, where it simply means, may I be aware of the goodness of life in me. But you see, songs are poetry with notes. And poetry is full of symbolism. You do not analyze it word by word, because if you analyze it word by word, something is wrong. Something like, come, Holy Spirit. Oh, it's already in me. I might be stupid. But the meaning of that simply is, may I know, may I be aware, and even more deeply, may that Spirit be alive in me. May that Spirit of goodness be at work in me. So, Spirit, Holy Spirit, is everywhere. Because after creating the world, the Bible says, God looks at everything and He says, everything is good. Everything is good. Now, if everything is good, how come in the world where we live in, there are so many bad things happening? And then someone who is really trying to be good and holy, very pious, very devout, something bad happens to him, then the question is, why me, Lord? Why not the other person who is doing all the stupid things around? Why me? When bad things happen to good people, the question is why? So perhaps we need to take a look at why the bad things are happening. Okay, to begin with, the principle of contradiction. You will never know what is good without bad. You know something is good because you know that something is bad. You know the wall is white because the speaker is black. If everything is white, what is white? We will not understand. If everything is black, we will not understand what white is all about, what even black is all about. If everything is bad, well, everything is bad, that is no good. If everything is good, what is bad? So philosophically, we understand one when there is something which contradicts that something. Therefore, to know what God is all about, that is the idea of evil. Without evil, what is God? Without goodness, what is bad? Now the Bible says, everything which God has created was good. He looked at everything He created and He found everything good. Now, why did the evil come about? Where did the evil come from? God did not create evil. It is something like light, bright, we know. We could define what light or brightness is all about scientifically. But if you look at Webster, Merriam, or Google, try to look at the meaning of what darkness is all about. Simply it will say, darkness is the absence of light. Darkness is the absence of light. And because in some cases light is absent, and therefore we have the idea of what darkness is. Similarly, without evil, what is good doesn't have any meaning at all. Just like how would you understand rest if you do not feel tired? Or hunger if you do not feel full after eating? So everything which God has created is good. How come bad things are happening? Simply because not only some, but I would say a good number of people cover the light, the spirit, or the goodness in them. A lot of people bury that goodness in them. They do not allow that goodness to come out, and therefore the result is something which contradicts the idea of goodness. And so bad thing is happening. Now maybe the second question is, why does God allow these things to happen? The simple answer is because God is a God of freedom. And free will separates us from the rest of the animals in the animal kingdom. Just imagine someone without freedom at all. That someone will be nothing else but like a machine. Doesn't have his own thinking. Because whatever you feed into the machine will not contradict. Not unless the machine is damaged. If you shift the gear to reverse, the car will not go forward. But for someone, a man or a woman, if I tell you to stand up, well, you may stand up if you want. If you do not want, you remain sitting down. It's up to you. You decide. That is what freedom is all about. And therefore, because of this freedom, which is a gift of God, for us to be able, hopefully, to come up with the right decision. Now, some people are not making use of that freedom to come up with the right decision. They decide otherwise, and therefore, goodness doesn't come out, and they do evil things. That is why Irenaeus, many years ago, he said, no matter how God wants you to be in heaven, if you jump into hell, He will not stop you. Because you are a free human being. And you see, if you remember when you were little kids, and the father or the mother was kind of trying to control you, trying to tell you everything that he or she wants to do. You had the feeling of something like being in prison, and you want to be free. You want to be free. Now, when you are given the freedom, then sometimes the misuse of freedom leads you into a life of mess. In this freedom, God will never take away from humanity. Because this is the essence exactly of what humanity is all about. We can think, we can analyze, and then after that, we can make a choice. Good or bad choices. So evil things are happening even if God created everything. And He said, everything is good. And even if humanity was created in the image and likeness of God, all the bad things are happening simply because human beings misuse freedom. Now maybe the next question is, why do I misuse my freedom? Why can't I use my freedom properly? My answer to that is human nature. The human nature in us urges us to do things which will satisfy the senses. And initially, I don't care what other people think. As long as my senses are satisfied, I will do things to satisfy them. That is what human nature is all about. Greed, avarice. What is mine is mine as much as possible. Nobody could take that away from me. What is yours? Better watch out. When I have the opportunity, I will grab it. That is what human nature is all about. Now, another question might be, why did God create us to be a greedy person, not able to use everything properly? Well, there is only one God. God is the only being who was good right from the very beginning until the end of time, until there is no time anymore. He is the only one. Everything else has a beginning and has an end. Now, our earthly life, understood spiritually, is just a means to an end. This is not the absolute true life that God gave us. We believe in the afterlife. And so this very short earthly life is given to us by God for us to make use, for us to decide where to go. To be with Him or to be away from Him. He has given us the faculty to think, to analyze, and to know. But again, because of the human nature in us, which is very strong, sometimes the ability to know properly is covered up by the knowledge of something which contradicts to the will of God. By the way, am I speaking philosophically? You look very serious. What is this fellow talking about? Are you following me more or less? Yes. Okay. Just to make sure. Now, a question similar to this is destiny. If God loves me, that is why He created me, for the simple reason that He wants that I have a share in His joy, in His life, then why not immediately did God create me to be already in that heaven, in that future? No more temporary life. Immediately, once you are born, you are there, eternally with Him. Again, philosophically, the answer to that is, what is there in God that's been shared with us? And the more important thing that is with God, which was shared to humanity, is again, freedom. Freedom. Because if freedom is taken away, well, you do not have any choice anymore. And maybe you will not like. Say, for example, okay, I want you to do this, only this. Something comes wrong, maybe you will blame me. You didn't give me the option to be somewhere else. No? So again, because of that freedom, God is giving us the option to choose. And to make a right choice, again, is difficult because of the human nature in us. That is why we always would like to call on the Holy Spirit. We always would like to call on the Spirit of life, on the Spirit of goodness to be alive, to be active in us, because the evil spirit is very much alive as well. Very much concrete and very strong. Sometimes even stronger than the good spirit. I remember when we were kids, we were taught in our catechism that every person always has at least two angels, one on the right and one on the left. The one on the right tells me that I should do something which is good. The one on the left will contradict. No, that is difficult. This is an easier one. Do this. Both of them angels. One is good, one is bad. So when someone tells you, oh, you look like an angel, then clarify what kind of angel, good or bad. You are an angel, but a bad angel. Now, if the good spirit, the spirit of life, the spirit of God is alive in us, then everything goes well. Maybe the next question is, how do I activate, how do I make the good spirit, or the spirit of goodness and the spirit of God become activated in me? First, I always say this. Be convinced. Know and be convinced that you are good. Forget about others. If they are convinced, okay, that's their problem. But personally, I have to be convinced that God loves me. And because He loves me, His goodness is in me. And therefore, I have to be convinced that I am good. I have to be convinced that I am good. Otherwise, if you have the feeling and you think that you are not good, well, indeed you will be bad. So first thing, be convinced and own that goodness. Own. I am good and I own this goodness in me. That is the first step. And this is also the guideline on how to become a good Catholic. Not only a good Catholic, but a good human being. Whether you are a Catholic, a Christian, or whatever. As long as you are a good human being, there is life in you. Be convinced that I am good. All the goodness in me. First step. Second step. Feel that goodness in you. Feel. Know. How do you know and how do you feel that your wife loves you? Because the wife is caring and understanding, and you feel that. And therefore, when I say, feel the goodness in you, hold on to that goodness, and for the senses to capture the essence of that goodness, then do something. Do something good. You do something good to someone who is needy. Well, do not look for somewhere else. Do not look for somebody else. Maybe that needy person is your wife, your husband, maybe your daughter, maybe your brother, maybe your mother. I am convinced that I am good. I own this goodness and I feel this goodness. And for me to know that that goodness is alive in me, and for me to feel that goodness is activated in me, I do something good. And if you do something good, the recipient of that goodness will feel happy. When the recipient feels happy, you will feel it as well. And then you know how it feels. to be good. So when I say, feel the goodness, you can only feel and know that goodness in you once you let it out. Otherwise, if you imprison the goodness in you and nobody is receiving the goodness from you, how would you feel? How could you know that there is goodness? No way. So do something good. If that something good is really good, then you will feel the good feeling of the recipient. And when you do that goodness, you do that with the purest of intention. You do not do it for the sake of showing off. You see, I go to the church. You see, I'm a charismatic. You see, I always pray. You see, I do what is good. No, that is bragging. You do not even do that goodness as a kind of an investment. Maybe you have heard me talking about investment. Doing good things as a kind of an investment. I do good thing to you because I want a return. That is investment. No matter how good the act is, the intention is not pure, there will be no joy. So you do that act of goodness simply because you are allowing the Spirit of goodness to be alive in you. Simply because you believe that God is good, and you believe and you know that God is in you, and therefore this God is at work in you, and therefore you cannot but let it go and be shared with someone else. That is the purest of the intention. That is what goodness is all about. Now maybe, what is good, by the way? Because some people might say, that is good for you. To me, that is not good. Sometimes good becomes relative. Oh, I am only doing what is good for you and you do not appreciate it. And then the other person will say, for you that is good, for me, no. So what is goodness actually? We will know that an act is good if that act follows the guidelines of the society. The society's guidelines, sometimes we call them laws. All the laws are intended for the benefit of everybody else. There is no guideline which says, kill someone, steal from someone. No. All the laws or the guidelines tell us, do something which will make the other person happy. So if what you do is in accordance with the guidelines of the society, and more importantly, with the guidelines of God, through the Bible, through the church, well, that something is good. That something is good. And then again, the perfection of that goodness comes about when you do it wholeheartedly, simply because God is making use of you. Actually, that goodness is not coming from you. That goodness is God. And God doesn't want to be with you only. God wants to be with everybody else. And therefore you share that. That is the perfection of goodness. Now, again, some people find this very difficult to do. And I was saying, simply, it is because of the human nature in us. The greed and the avarice in us, the lust in us. And therefore the goodness is being covered. That goodness is being imprisoned. Where is this avarice? Where is this lust? Where is greed coming from? My simple answer is, because we are not perfect yet. Because we are not perfect yet. But we are on the way to perfection. God could not create us perfect immediately. And again, I already have said, for the simple reason, because there is freedom. So, this human nature, all the bad attitudes at work in me, they are the results of my imperfection. Like, for example, if we go back to the story of the paradise, everything was there, everything was good. And then suddenly, the serpent came and tempted Eve to eat of the fruit, and Eve ate of the fruit, and she felt it was good, appealing to the senses. And so she offered it to Adam, and Adam ate as well. And then after that, they realized they have done something wrong. And according to our traditional teaching, that was the original sin, passed on to every human being. Well, that story simply tells us that there is always the tendency for human beings to resist someone else, to resist even God. That every human being has the tendency that as much as possible, what I want should happen. I only want what I want. As much as possible, I do not want that anybody contradicts me. So because of that resistance, sin, as we call it, came about, and so humanity was separated from God, and difficulties started. Now, if there is resistance in us against the goodness, against the Holy Spirit alive in us, we are trying to resist, we are trying to imprison that goodness, the result, all the evil things which we see in the world. You have done something wrong, which in the beginning was appealing to the senses, which in the beginning gave you pleasure, not joy. Say, for example, you want to prove that I am a better man, so I will kick the ass of this person. Bang! And the other fellow falls down. Oh, for a moment, oh, I'm good. For a moment. Huh? But after some time, you will feel the consequence of that wrongdoing. So, again, how do we overcome the human nature in us? The tendency to resist someone, and specifically the tendency to resist God, to resist to do what is good. I already told you the first step. Be convinced, know you are good, feel that you are good. But sometimes you will fail. Yes, I know, yes, I am convinced, but I cannot just let go of this goodness. I want to own it. I want to have it. And again, that is greed. How do I overcome that? In one word, my answer is prayer. Prayer. And again, when I say prayer, feel again your union with God. You see, sometimes, or maybe oftentimes, you commit a very big fault, a very big sin, only for you to feel the mercy of God, and then after that, a great conversion. That is the story practically of almost all the saints. Peter, for example, he was with Jesus. He felt he was a witness to the goodness, to the power, to the authority of Jesus. He was the one who confessed, "You are the Son of the living God," and therefore Jesus said, "I tell you, Peter, on this rock I will build my church." But then, during the Passion of the Lord, "I don't know him, I swear. I have not seen him. This is only the first time." But then, Jesus' eyes and Peter's eyes met, and Peter felt the gravity of his denial. And that feeling of being really turned upside down, the feeling of being most unworthy to be with Jesus, that was exactly the energy which pushed Peter to give his full commitment, even to the point of being crucified upside down. And I guess you know that. When he was about to be crucified, he said, "Not that way, the other way around. I am not worthy to be crucified the way you did to Jesus." So once you have done something wrong, and definitely we always fall, you have to feel the gravity, the consequence of that wrongdoing. You have to own. Do not blame someone else. Because some people are like that. Yes, I have done this because so many becauses. And the impression is, it is not actually my fault, it is their fault. If you have a because, you are trying to save yourself. If it is your fault, simply say, "Yes, I am wrong." Period. If you add something, you are trying to save yourself. And the Lord says, anybody who saves himself will lose it. So, when we fail to allow the Spirit of goodness to be alive in us, no. Accept. Own it. Do not blame. Just like what Adam did. "Oh, you have disobeyed my commandment. The girl you gave me. Why did you give that to your husband? The serpent tempted me." Nobody would like to own. So when you have done something wrong, own it. It is my wrongdoing. And feel the gravity. And the gravity of that sin, the gravity of that wrongdoing, also will be the energy which will push you to try to give your best the next time. But if you try to save yourself, it was not me anyway. It was because of him. So you continue doing it. But if you say, "Yes, indeed, I am wrong," there is a chance for conversion. So one way of trying to eliminate the human nature in us Saint Augustine was the one who said this. Oh, great sin. He was praising sin. It is because of you, O great sin, that I now feel my need of God. That now I feel the need to be forgiven. Because He owned and He accepted His wrongdoing. So accept your wrongdoing. Do not blame anybody else. And if you really feel the gravity and the consequence of that being separated from God, yes, we were created to be with God, and therefore you are separated. You will long and you will hunger, you will thirst for God. And that thirst, that hunger, that longing, that desire will be the energies which will push you slowly and hopefully to be back into the fold of the grace of God again. Another thing, some people are confused. What is right and what is wrong? Do I have to do this? I do, or do I do, or do I do something else? Well, once you are confused, try to enlighten your thinking. How? Consult people with wisdom. Whoever the person with wisdom is. If you would like to know something about technology, do not consult me. I'm poor in that. What you want, know whom to approach. If you want to know the will of God, consult the Bible. Pray. Now, everybody, almost everybody has an access to technology. Go to YouTube. Go to Google. I suggest Eckhart Tolle. ECHARTTOLLE. Eckhart Tolle. Ask anything to Eckhart Tolle on YouTube. You will have a good answer. Ask anything in Google. But you should know which one to believe, which one not to believe. That's why I'm giving you a hint. Eckhart Tolle is one of those good things to watch from YouTube. Because not everything there is good. There are so many deceptions as well. But it could be very helpful. So how to know exactly what to do, what is good and what is bad, and how do I do? Ask the experts. Ask the experts. Pray over. Now, in the end, make your choice. Make your own decision. You do not do something simply because, oh, I have read, somebody told me. No. Because when you're doing something goes wrong, you will blame the other person. So you ask, you make a research, and then in the end you decide, that is your decision. You do this, you say this, simply because that is your decision to do that. When something goes wrong, again, go back to the basic, admit, own, and feel the consequence. That is why a lot of wisdom writers would say, life is what you make it. So God created you. Final destiny is to be with Him. Eternal joy. But how you go there, how you reach that heaven is your choice, is your decision. Life is what you make it. And someone else added, happiness is a choice. How could it be a choice? You see, my very expensive watch was stolen. I am disappointed. How could I choose to be happy? I should be lonely. Well, if you want to be lonely, that is your choice. That you have chosen to be lonely. Even if that something very important to you is taken away from you, you couldn't do anything anyway. You couldn't do anything anyway. So accept it. And still choose to be happy. And again, you might have heard this story, my story about one person who met an accident. One leg is cut off. Do you remember? Praise the Lord, he says. Why? Only one leg is cut off. What if both legs are cut off? Praise the Lord. I still choose to be happy because I still have hands. Both hands cut off. I choose to be happy because I'm still alive. And then finally you die, all the more. This is not my choice anymore. This will happen to me ultimately. I will be eternally happy because I will meet the Lord. It's always a choice. When you are lonely, when you are angry, that is your choice. You could choose otherwise anyway. That is why the Lord says, somebody slaps you on the right, offer the left. Love your enemies. Pray for those who persecute you. No resistance. Because if you resist, your choice will be negative. But even then, that is your choice. So those people who are not happy, they chose to be unhappy. You see so many rich people, handsome, beautiful, powerful, popular, but they are not happy. But some people who are very poor, short and not handsome, doesn't own anything, they are very happy. I'm talking about Francis of Assisi. Because Francis, according to books, he was short, he was not handsome, and he left everything. He became very poor, but he was always happy. Because he chose to be happy in spite of. So to end up, Holy Spirit, the Spirit of goodness, and if the Spirit of goodness is alive in you, then there is peace, there is joy. The Spirit of God, the Spirit of goodness alive in you, then you know what to do. You become not only a good Christian, not only a good Catholic, but you become a good human being. You become a good daughter, a good wife, a good husband, a good brother, a good parent. So in the end, because we were given freedom, then choose to allow the Spirit to be at work in you. Holy Spirit, the Spirit of holiness, the Spirit of goodness. Know that God is Emmanuel. The second reading for this weekend says, God is in everything and in everybody. God is in me. Then I have to know, I have to be aware, I have to be convinced that God is in me. The holiness, the goodness is in me. And if that holiness becomes activated in me, then I become a good human being, created in the image and likeness of God. I become the creature that God created me to be. And you will be where God wants you to be. But again, you have a choice. You have a choice. Finally, perhaps you have heard this, but anyway, just to reiterate my point. This is about Carlo Pareto, one of my favorite authors as well. You might also Google his books, Carlo Pareto. Another one will be Henry Newman. They are good authors. Carlo Pareto says in his book, if the angel of the Lord knocks on my door tonight and tells me, okay, sleep, this is your last sleep on earth, that means I'm going to die tonight. Carlo Pareto says, I am very sure, I am very much convinced I will go to heaven. I will be happy, I will be with God forever. I am very much convinced. Simply for two reasons. Number one reason, Pareto says, is because I am convinced that God loves me. Even if there are so many bad things happening in my life, still I am convinced that God loves me because He has chosen to see what is good. He has chosen to do what is good. So I am very much convinced that God loves me. Now what about us? How convinced are we? We have to. We have to. Second reason which Carlo Pareto gives is because I love God as well. And when he says he loves God as well, that means he allows the God in him to be at work, and therefore what he does is good. And again, with the purest of intention. I already told that to you. With the purest of intention, he does what is good. And therefore, because of those two reasons, anytime he could die in peace. Anytime he could die in peace. So come, Holy Spirit simply means I have to be aware that the Spirit is in me. I have to choose to be the temple of the Holy Spirit. Life is what I make it, and happiness is my choice. Choose to be happy by allowing the Spirit to be at work in you. Amen? Hallelujah. Good evening. And before the blessing, I just would like to invite everybody to sit down again. Sit down again, sit comfortably. Your back touching the back of the chair so that you become comfortable. Yes. You may close your eyes if you want to. Try to empty your thought. Do not think of anything. You could hear me speaking, follow the instruction, but do not think, do not analyze the words which I say. Breathe deeply. Inhale, exhale. Continue breathing deeply, just knowing and just being aware that you are breathing and you are sitting down. Every time you inhale, feel that is the life coming into you. The Spirit coming in union with your system. Inhale, feel the Spirit. Feel the goodness coming in union to your system. Exhale the bad, negative energies in you being thrown out of your system. And therefore, the system is now freed of the negative energy. All the more, the Holy Spirit could dwell in there. And for this Holy Spirit, which will allow us to see and help us decide and choose the better side of life, we thank God, we praise Him, we all stand up, and we glorify God, praying, glory be to the Father, to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit. The Lord be with you. And may all the heavenly blessings descend upon you all. Remain with you now and forever. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Hallelujah.